Hey guys, it's Casey and welcome back to my channel and also welcome back to day 8 of 2025. Now, I did not film a day 7 of 2025 yesterday because unfortunately I got stuck up in an accident at work. Well, actually, no, I'm not going to call it an accident because it was entirely foreseeable to the point that even Stevie Wonder would have been able to see it coming around the corner. It was a free birth gone wrong. Now, if you don't know what a free birth is, to put it politely, to put it in a kind way, free birth is when, for whatever reason, a pregnant woman decides that she's going to give birth completely alone without any medical attention or intervention or assistance. But to put it the way that I would prefer to put it as a medical professional, free birth is when a pregnant woman, for whatever reason, decides to put her short-term emotional fulfillment over her own life and safety and the life and safety of her child. And so when free birth goes wrong, as it does more often than not, it goes tits up pretty damn quickly. And that is what happened yesterday. So instead of coming home after my shift to film a video for you, as I intended to do, I instead had to stay at work for an additional 5 hours in what can only be described as the human centipede position, except for instead of it being mouth to anus, it was me on all fours behind a pregnant woman on all fours with my arm shoved elbow deep up her vajayjay, holding the umbilical cord literally inside of her for 4 hours while we were awaiting the life flight to arrive. So if you want a free birth, maybe reconsider it, and we're just going to pretend that I did film day 7 of 2025 because I just want to forget that day 7 of 2025 ever existed at all. So let's talk about vacations, those precious escapes from your day-to-day grind, the shining beacon of hope and light at the end of your 9-to-5 tunnel. When most people talk about their travels, they present them as these profound, life-altering experiences. And yet, when you actually sit down and dig deep into the tiny details of what they're actually saying, what you have instead of profoundness is a dystopian hellscape of crowds and cliches and cookie-cutter experiences. Because here's the thing. You all vacation in the exact same way. You all flock to the same handful of destinations and follow the same itinerary and pose for the exact same photos. And then once you're finished, you will pat yourselves on the back for being so worldly and wise. But from where I'm standing as an outsider looking in, it doesn't look like you're worldly and wise. It just looks like you're ticking boxes on the world's most boringest scavenger hunt. Most travel destinations these days just feel like super elaborate theme parks. The landmarks are sanitized and the culture is diluted, and even that super authentic cultural experience you claim to be having is every bit as genuine as a Temu souvenir. I mean, take the Eiffel Tower, for instance. It is beautiful. I'm not going to sit here and say that it isn't. But can you seriously go home after your trip to Paris to say that you had an authentic experience when all you've really done is just stand elbow to elbow with 1,000 other tourists, taking a photo that has been taken 1,000,001 times before? It feels like people just want to visit these places to be able to say that they've been there and not to actually experience them in any meaningful capacity. Especially these big bucket list destinations that pretty much everyone has on their list. By this point in time, those kind of places feel so overrun and over-commercialized that you might as well just go to Disney World. Like, whatever happened to adventure? You know, the kind where you stepped off the beaten track and got lost and found something unexpected. Now it just feels like everything in travel is planned and packaged and predictable. For example, take your wild adventure in the Amazon. It is a guided tour with Wi-Fi hotspots, or your authentic Italian meal, which in reality is just a restaurant specifically designed to cater to tourists with an English-speaking menu and a waiter biting at the bit to upsell you on the house wine. Like, even climbing Mount Everest these days is a complete and total joke. No, because seriously, climbing Mount Everest in 2025 is embarrassing. If someone in my real life told me, like sincerely said, that they were planning to climb Mount Everest this year, my respect for them would immediately plummet. Like, it doesn't matter if prior to hearing that I thought that they were the coolest person since Robin Williams. The moment those words passed their lips, they would be immediately redelegated in my mind as the biggest loser I know. Every time somebody tells me the details of their life-changing vacation, I struggle not to roll my eyes. Like, oh, you went to Europe and you took a photo with Big Ben and you ate pizza in Italy and you rode the gondolas in Venice. Like, absolutely groundbreaking, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so unique. I'm certain that the 30,000 other people who did the exact same activity on the exact same day that you did were equally transformed by the experience. And it feels a bit like I'm picking on Europe, and I'm absolutely not, because it's also hiking in Machu Picchu, or renting a camel in Egypt, or scuba diving at the Great Barrier Reef. Like, it's all the same thing. You're not actually connecting with the world around you, you're just ticking off boxes on an imaginary list. And here's the really hot take that I think a lot of people struggle to stomach, and that is that most people who need to be constantly traveling, who need a vacation on the horizon to get them through their day-to-day life, absolutely hate their lives. Like, their real lives, they despise them. And hey, I absolutely understand that. That is no judgment. That is just an observation, because I understand that real life can be stressful and boring and unfulfilling, but jetting off to the Maldives is not going to fix that. It's just a temporary distraction. It is sticking a band-aid over a much deeper wound. It's quite ironic, because you go on vacation to escape your daily routine, but then your vacation gets its own routine. You wake up, you go sightseeing, you go to the beach, you take some photos, you eat something authentic, but not too authentic, because heaven forbid you risk getting food poisoning. Then you return to your resort. Rinse and repeat. And yet, these are the exact same people who will then turn around and sneer down their noses at those who don't have the time, money, or motivation to spend half their lives on an airplane. So instead of chasing the purple dragon of travel, they instead choose to dedicate their lives to their small towns and their communities and their friends and families.
You've never been to Bali? Oh my God, you need to go. It is life-changing.
Is it though? Or is it just an island where you sat on the beach drinking overpriced cocktails and complaining about the flies and the humidity for 9 days straight? Like, I hate to break it to you, but you are not the second coming of Marco Polo just because you run off to Thailand every time there's a slight problem in your life. Truth is that the way that you travel and the way that you vacation has very little to do with growth and discovery. For the most part, it is about appearances. It's about filling your social media feeds with picturesque moments that make your life look far more interesting than they actually are. It's about having enough stories to fill the awkward silences at dinner parties, because you know that the last time you did something even remotely unique in your day-to-day life was back when Obama was still in office. And perhaps most importantly, it's about being able to convince yourself that you're actually doing something worthwhile on this planet, when deep down you know that you're just largely going through the motions of day-to-day life. Look, I am not saying that travel is a bad thing. Travel can absolutely be a transformative experience. Meeting new people and seeing new places and engaging in new cultures can be incredible if it's done in a proper way. But the way that the vast majority of you do it now, it's hollow and it's performative, and frankly, it's a little bit depressing. So the next time that you want to plan a trip, maybe just take a moment and step back and ask yourself, am I doing this for the experience, or am I doing it because my life is feeling a little bit empty at the moment? Because if it is the latter, maybe consider saving your money and your sanity and maybe get some therapy instead. Anyway, I think that touches on all the key points that I want to put into this video. I could do a much deeper dive, like 2 or 3 hour video on the topic, and virtually every other topic that I've discussed so far and will discuss over the next coming couple of days. But no one to watch that, so I'm not going to waste my energy in doing so, but I feel like I covered all my points, at least surface level. So tomorrow, the goal, the plan, is to dive headfirst into the reasons why your pop culture, specifically your TV and movies over the last, I want to say 7 years, we're going to go with 7 years, I think, as a period, has been so stale and lifeless and plotless and boring. So if that sounds interesting to you, feel free to come back tomorrow. But if not, this will be Casey signing off for the night. As always, stay safe and stay weird, and say no to free birth.